Okay, 8th graders, today we're going to talk, instead of squaring, about cubing a number and also about a cube root. So, to cube a number, for example, this first one is 1 cubed. For it to be cubed, it has a 3 for an exponent. And that just means that we're doing 1 times 1 times 1, or we have 1 3 times multiplied by each other. 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. So if we have 2 cubed, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. This is going to continue with 3 cubed. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Now we have negative 4 cubed, which means, once again, we have negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. So when I do negative 4 times negative 4, I have 16, and 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. So where all of the perfect squares were positives, perfect cubes, if they're negative, if the negative is on the inside of the parentheses, I should say, the answer will be negative because we have 3 of them instead of 2, and the first 2 will cancel out, but the third one is going to make the whole answer negative. So let's look at 5 cubed. 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. 6 cubed, and you could use a calculator, is 216. 7 cubed is 343. Negative 8 cubed, so those first 2 negatives are going to cancel each other out. We're going to have negative in our answer. Negative 8 cubed is negative 512. 9 cubed is 729. 10 cubed is 1,000. 11 cubed is 1,331. And negative 12 cubed would be negative 1,728. So just like squares and square roots, cubes and cube roots are opposite of each other. So the opposite of cubing a number is finding a cube root. And what does a cube root look like? Well, also similar to a square root. It's the same symbol, except to show that it's a cube root, we have a 3. Kind of like an exponent, except at the beginning of the problem instead of at the end. So this tells me that I have a cube root. Now, how do I solve a cube root? Well, one way is to know your cubes. I've given you the smallest ones up here, 1 through 12. Those will be the ones that we use the most. You can, however, use a calculator on your cube roots. We will just have to talk about how those get typed into your calculator. I also have given you a table of squares, cubes, roots, and reciprocals, and all of these can be found, or most of these can be found on that table. The table goes from 1 to 300, but you can find the cube roots by looking at the cubes. So the cube root of 64, if we look up here, is going to be 4. The cube root of 343 is 7. The cube root of 729 is 9. Number 4, the cube root of 1728 is 12. The cube root of 9261 is 21. And the cube root of 4096 is 16. Go ahead and turn your paper over. I'm going to have you try 7 through 12 for homework. See what you come up with. And then I would like to go over with you a few on the bottom. So if I have a cubed, the opposite of cubing is a cubed root. So I'm going to take the cube root to get rid of that cubed of both sides of my equal sign. So the cube root of 125 is 5, and the cube root of 216 is 6, and therefore my answer here is A equals 5/6. Let's take a look at another one. On 14, we're going to cube root both sides of my equal sign. That cancels out. So I'm left with B equals the cube root of -27 would be -3, and the cube root of 125 would be 5. So that would be my answer. Alright, I'm going to let you try the remainder of these problems. Again, you may use a calculator. You may use your chart that I've given you. Either one is going to be the only way you can solve these problems. So you don't really need a calculator because I've given you a chart, but you may use it if you prefer it. Have a great night.